Hello everyone, welcome back again to another live section. Thank you so much for joining me in this live section and a happy Sunday to all of you. So guys, let's dive into what we really have for today. Breaking news, the fight for Nnamdi Kanu's freedom has officially reached the highest corridors of global power. Former United States President Donald Trump has been petitioned, yes, Donald Trump, and the countdown to possible US sanctions against Nigerian officials has begun. Now, with the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Act now in play, this battle has moved from Abuja to Washington, from Nigerian's court to the White House, and the next 48 hours could change everything. On August 28, 2025, a powerful petition was submitted to former US President Donald Trump by the ambassadors for self-determination in collaboration with the American Veterans of Igbo Descent and the Rising Sun Charities Organization. Now, this petition, delivered through IPOB international lawyer Bruce Finn, demands urgent US intervention over the illegal detention of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB and the voice of millions of Igbo worldwide. The petition involves some of the most powerful US legal frameworks: Executive Order 13818 and the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act. These laws give the United States government extraordinary powers to punish anyone, anywhere in the world, found guilty of serious human rights violation. Now, the same legal tools we are used, remember the Carlos case. The same legal tools we are used there to sanction, disgrace, and isolate top officials of another country over human rights abuse. A lot of people have been coming and tell us that Maxwell Okpara is really a man. That man has been going from one country to another, especially all these powerful nations, so that they can be able to, agitate for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I want you guys to watch a video of where Maxwell Okpara was saying, talking about the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is going to be released. In fact, he's in another country at the moment. He's no longer, if I think he's no longer in France again. So he's now in another country at the moment. Guys, just watch and listen to what he has to say. And I'll be right back, guys.
Just entered Malaga here in Spain. Getting prepared to go and address the Igbos that are living in Europe. Their representatives have converged from all the countries in Europe here in Malaga. We are going to address them. In respect of the injustice Nnamdi Kanu has been facing since 2014 in the hands of Nigeria. How Nnamdi Kanu was adopted from Kenya to Nigeria. How Nnamdi Kanu was facing injustice. How the Igbos have been killed as a result of their rights. So these are the things that brought me here in Spain to come and address them. And they are all waiting for me at the Malaga International Conference Center. We are going to address them. And you can see, so because of my regalia, how I dressed, you can see how the people around there are looking at me as a traditional chief. When you are going to address your people, you need to be in your regalia. I need to be in my traditional attire. And that was the reason why I'm here. Thank you. I will continue to update you. Thank you.
Maxwell Okpara is a real man. Like, I call him a soldier because this man is really trying. Imagine, he was in France before. Now he's now in Spain. He's telling us that he has just arrived in Spain after submitting petition for France. He's now in Spain to address the Indigbos, the Indigbos who are in Spain. He came to address them. Like I keep telling you guys, you see all these petitions they have to be submitting. They have submitted petitions to Donald Trump so that Donald Trump will get involved in this case. Now, this petition cites several powerful legal precedents, which is the Kenya court ruling declaring Kanu's extraordinary rendition illegal, Nigerian court judgment questioning his unlawful detention, and the 2022 United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, the opinion which ruled that Kanu's arrest and continued detention violates international law. Now, these rulings have kept Kanu's case a subject of global attention, and now the US is being pushed to act. If the US acts under the Global Act, the impact will be massive. It will be freezing of US-based assets belonging to Nigerian officials, travel bans and visa restrictions on implicated politicians, judges, and security chiefs, global naming and shaming of those responsible. Now, let me talk about Maxwell Okpara, then before we continue. Like I always say, you will know a man who is always standing by his leader. Maxwell Okpara has been standing with Nnamdi Kanu throughout his court case. This is a man that did not rest. If you guys watched exactly what happened, it happened in exactly that conference that happened in Enugu, that MBA conference. It was immediately he finished talking about Nnamdi Kanu in the MBA conference. He left immediately to France. He arrived France, submitted the petition, and immediately he's now in Spain currently now. You guys saw that video. You guys said what he said. You guys saw the video. Just take a look. For people who have not watched it, just take.
I have just entered Malaga here in Spain. Getting prepared to go and address the Igbos that are living in Europe. Their representatives have converged from all the countries in Europe here in Malaga. We are going to address them in respect of the injustice Mas Nnamdi Kanu has been facing since 2014 in the hands of Nigeria. How Nnamdi Kanu was adopted from Kenya to Nigeria. How Nnamdi Kanu was facing injustice. How the Igbos have been killed as a result of their rights. So these are the things that brought me here in Spain to come and address them. And they are all waiting for me at the Malaga International Conference Center. We are going to address them. And you can see, so because of my regalia, how I dressed, you can see how the people around there are looking at me as a traditional chief. When you are going to address your people, you need to be in your regalia. I need to be in my traditional attire. And that was the reason why I'm here. Thank you. I will continue to update you. Thank you.
Seriously, God bless Maxwell Okpara. He's really doing a good work. He's doing a good work by trying on his possible best so that Nnamdi Kanu will be released. Now, I keep saying that you see all these sanctions, like if these people keep submitting petitions to the United States, immediately the United States gets involved in Nnamdi Kanu's case. If the US acts under the Global Act, the impact will be so massive. The first one will be massive. It will be freezing of United States-based assets belonging to Nigerian officials. That will be the first thing. The second thing that may happen is travel bans and visa restrictions on implicated politicians, judges, and security chiefs. And the third one is global naming and shaming of those responsible. This could paralyze Nigeria's international reputation and force Abuja to reconsider its stance on Kanu's detention. Now, insider reports reveal that a confidential letter tied to this petition has already landed on Donald Trump's desk. In fact, they say that it has been submitted to Donald Trump. And here is the shocker. He is expected to act within the next 24 hours to 48 hours. That's why the world's eyes are now firmly fixed on Washington, D.C. Yes, they have submitted the petition on Donald Trump's desk. In fact, the shocking part of it is that they are expecting him to act within the next 24 hours or 48 hours. That's why you see the world, the whole world is now, their eyes is now firmly fixed in what? Washington, D.C. Now, Maxwell Okpara, who is one of the Kanu's top legal counsels, has been restlessness. He's working across Europe and the US, coordinating with lobbyists, senators, human rights activists, and the global advocacy group. As many describe it, they are doing the Lord's work, turning this into a global human rights battle rather than what? A local legal case. Now, this is just with Kenya and Nigerian court rulings, and also the 2022 United Nations opinion and the global framework. Nigeria faces what? Unprecedented diplomatic pressure. Washington, Brussels, Geneva, and the international human rights community are now watching closely. Now, what this means for Tinubu's government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu could soon find his administration under massive global scrutiny. If sanctions are triggered, top officials may lose access to foreign banks, trade deals, and diplomatic privileges. This isn't just about Nnamdi Kanu anymore. It's about Nigerians' international standing and global accountability. Now, the world is watching. From Washington to London, Brussels to Geneva, Nnamdi Kanu's case has remained a subject of international attention. Human rights groups, foreign governments, and global watchdogs are now waiting to see whether Donald Trump's response will tip the scales of justice. Now, the countdown has begun. In the next 48 hours is going to be critical. Will Donald Trump act? Will the United States invoke the Global Magnitsky Act? Will Nigerian officials face sanctions? Now, one thing is certain. The world is watching, and the fight for Nnamdi Kanu's freedom has entered a whole new phase. That is it. The whole world is watching. Now that Maxwell Okpara has been going to different countries, to drop a petition, it's good. It's good as he's doing it. Anyway, guys, please drop a comment below, and I want you guys to listen to what the lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu said about Kanu's illegal detention. I'll be right back, to take your comments one by
So
one.
today I'm wearing two hats. I'm speaking on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm also speaking on my own behalf. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I'm the special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra. And I'm speaking to you from a location in Nigeria. The man, Nnamdi Kanu, is well known. He's everywhere. He's on Wikipedia. He's an internationally acclaimed freedom fighter. But there's just a few things I need to tell you about him. What brought him to limelight was the formation of the indigenous people of Biafra in the United Kingdom in 2012. Simultaneously, he also founded Radio Biafra. And these two organizations were aimed at one thing: liberation for the people of Biafra, or restoration of the former Republic of Biafra that went defunct in 1970. The right to self-determination is a right that is guaranteed internationally, domestically, and continentally. It's within the black letters of Nigerian law at Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. So the formation of IPOB did not break any law. Not laws of United Kingdom, not international law, not Nigerian law. But guess what? When Nnamdi Kanu, who was born in Nigeria, but who acquired British citizenship later on, came to Nigeria in October 2015, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, which had come to power in May, decided to arrest him. He was not arrested between 2012 and 2015 because the government of the day at that time understood that self-determination is not a crime. But the government that came into power in 2015 in May decided that self-determination is going to be treated as a criminal activity. So he was arrested in Lagos. He was charged for treason, also for insulting the president and illegal importation of radio equipment. 3 charges. The treason one, they split it into 2, treason by himself and treason by conspiracy. This thing went on from 2015 until April 2017, when he was eventually granted bail. So he was detained for nearly 18 months. After granting him bail, he returned to his ancestral home in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and he was enjoying his bail when suddenly, between 10 September and 14 September 2017, the Nigerian army, without any justification whatsoever, levied lethal, massive military operations against Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home. That day, he was sitting at home with so many people, his family members, including his 2 elderly parents. The attack was lightning, it was a bleakage, it was massive, and it was not the type of an attack you will expect a national military force to levy on a civilian location. But they did. At the end of the day, 28 people lost their lives. Nnamdi Kanu sustained injuries. His parents sustained injuries as well, but somehow, by the grace of God, they all managed to escape. From there, the rest is history. And because there was a national and international manhunt for him by the security forces, which rules of engagement was to shoot, not to maim. If you see Nnamdi Kanu, if you encounter him anywhere, shoot not to maim. Not to maim, but shoot to kill. That's what they went there to do on 10 September, but they didn't succeed. But it went on. They went on in a manhunt. So Nnamdi Kanu was forced to flee the municipal boundaries of Nigeria in search of safe haven overseas. Eventually, in May 2021, he settled in Kenya. He entered Nairobi and settled in Kenya somewhere. He never knew that Nigerian security forces, the international branch of it, were laying in wait for him. They laid an ambush for him. So on 19th June 2021, he drove himself to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a personal errand. As soon as he drove into the parking lot and alighted from his vehicle, several well-armed security men suspected to be of a mixture of Nigerian and Kenyan security forces swooped on him, grabbed him, abducted him, and put him forcibly in a vehicle and drove away. Well, they didn't take him to the police station. They didn't take him to immigration because he was a foreigner. He should have been taken to immigration. They didn't take him to any official law enforcement facility. They took him to a secret location in Nairobi, a non-official secret location. So in effect, they disappeared him. And they kept him at that secret location for a whole 8 days. And those 8 days he endured horrendous torture. All these are matters of record between the various tribunals and courts before whom this matter has been brought. I cannot begin to give you all the details. Horrendous torture in violation of basic human rights, in violation of the laws of Kenya, Nigeria, and the international community. When Nnamdi Kanu was abducted on 19th June 2021, the proper thing that should have been done is to take him to a police station, from there to a court. And then if you wanted him back in Nigeria, you subject him to what is called extradition proceedings. This is a basic tenet of the law that you see in the laws of any nation. Kenya has an extradition act to which Nnamdi Kanu should have been subjected. But guess what? They didn't do that. They rather disappeared him for 8 days, tortured him to their heart's content. And on 27th June, they secretly brought him out from this location and took him through the back doors, evading Kenyan immigration, direct to the tarmac of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi, where a private plane was waiting. They bundled him into the plane, chained him to the chair, and everything. He endured 5-6 hours flight from Nairobi to Kenya in the most excruciating circumstances. They arrived in Nigeria late in the evening and the plane flew back to Nairobi. They took him to the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency in Abuja, where he spent the first night with all the lights left on to assure his maximum discomfort. The following day, they transferred him to the headquarters of Directorate of State Security in Abuja. And on the third day, they brought him before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Federal High Court was well aware that Nnamdi Kanu has counsel of record. It was an open case, it wasn't a new case, a pre-existing case. But the Federal High Court decided to conduct the arraignment in violation of his constitutional right to counsel, and that arraignment led to the indefinite detention with which we are struggling today. Anyways, taking you back a few steps, the little military invasion of 2017 was not unrequited, judicially speaking. I took the matter before two tribunals, or a tribunal and a court. First, I took it to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which rendered a decision in March 2018 condemning the action and calling it a violation of the African Charter. And they wrote to the President of Nigeria, they wrote a letter to the President of Nigeria requesting him or directing him. They used diplomatic language, but the decision was there that what you did is wrong. So you need to roll it back. You need to reverse everything you have done, which includes declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and hounding their members as criminals. The African Commission held that what Nigerian government was doing was persecution, not prosecution. That the IPOB and its members simply possess an inconvenient political opinion which the Nigerian government was seeking to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. And they asked or directed Nigerian government to reverse itself. Nigerian government never did. Rather, it escalated. Well, subsequently, I went to a local court, a high court in Abia State in eastern Nigeria. I sued the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Army, and other parties who were confederates in that attack of September 2017. And in January 2022, fortunately for us, we won. The High Court made an order. The High Court reached a judgment that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in September 2017 was a flagrant violation of his constitutional right to life and constitutional right to his privacy. And the court proceeded to make an order ordering the federal government of Nigeria or Federal Republic of Nigeria to pay him a compensation of 1 billion Nigerian naira, which is over $1 million US. The court also ordered the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President of Nigeria to issue a public apology to be published in 3 national Nigerian newspapers to Nnamdi Kanu. None of this has happened. So we kept that aside. So when they brought Nnamdi Kanu forcibly from Kenya without extradition proceedings, I characterized it an act of extraordinary rendition. Initially, there was a misunderstanding, a broad, widespread misunderstanding by vast majorities of Nigerians who were mouthing the cliche, Nnamdi Kanu extradited from Kenya. No, that was wrong. He wasn't. I told people he wasn't. He was extraordinarily renditioned or rendered, and that is against international law, Kenyan law, and laws of the Federation of Nigeria. So while his criminal trial was making its way slowly at Abuja, with all the several amendments the government was bringing, they walked away from treasonable felony, insulting the president, importation of radio equipment, and bam, to terrorism. That's how it happened. And they did this 7 times. 7 amendments. If Nnamdi Kanu was guilty, why is it taking so long to bring him to trial between 2015 and today? That is 8 years. So what he's undergoing is not really a judicial trial. It's a trial by ordeal. Trial by fire. Imprisonment before conviction. They just want to get as many years of jail time out of him as possible, because they know that with the evidence available, conviction will be impossible. And that was made worse by the extraordinary rendition, which I took also as a civil violation to a federal high court in Nigeria. And in October 2022, the Federal High Court came down with a judgment that extraordinary rendition was a violation of his constitutional rights, his fundamental rights, and they awarded him 500 million Nigerian naira. That's about $800,000. So all around, everywhere that this matter has gone to, including in July 2022, before the Human Rights Council at the United Nations. The Human Rights Council, United Nations, came down with an opinion that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and that brought him to Nigeria is a very grave violation of international law, and they directed that he should be released unconditionally. And of course, the Court of Appeal in Nigeria did come down with a similar judgment in same October 2022, discharging Nnamdi Kanu of all charges and bearing any further trial of his person in any court in Nigeria as a consequence, as a direct consequence of the extraordinary rendition. So what more can you ask for a man to deserve his freedom? How many have I counted? United Nations, which in this case should be considered a world court. Then you have the Nigerian Court of Appeal, which is the second highest court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then you have the Federal High Court, which is the court of first instance at the federal level. And of course, you have the State High Court that awarded him 1 billion Nigerian naira. So between 2015 and today, 8 years and running, Nnamdi Kanu has snagged 4 major victories against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Federal Republic of Nigeria winning nothing. What more do you need as stark evidence, affirmative evidence that what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is an act of persecution, not prosecution? It's time to end it. On his behalf, I will ask all men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world to speak up. There was this saying about Jews. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing because you're a trade unionist. Then when they came for the trade unionist, you say, well, I'm a scientist. You said nothing. They took the Jew, they took the trade unionist. And then when they came for the scientists, nobody spoke for you. Nnamdi Kanu is a poster boy for all the injustices that a great race, the Igbo people, and their cousins in the former eastern Nigeria have been subjected to since the founding of Nigeria. These injustices became more public because since 2015 they have been escalated. So how do you fight back? You fight back by telling the system, I want out. I want my own country is not a crime. It does not require a bullet. It doesn't require muscular military law enforcement. What it requires is sitting across the table and talking about it. A lot of nations have been founded on referendum. That's what Nnamdi Kanu and the Indigenous people of Biafra were asking for. That led to all this conundrum, to all this saga.
When the president calmed down, the reason Nnamdi Kanu have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nnamdi Kanu, because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution and the law.
Well, the government's anger is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate. But they said the way he was going about it, like and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
what of the one? What of the one? The wife of the president incited people during the election. The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one Oba of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something. Then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe. So you are now saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. In a country that is predicated on constitutional governance, it cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, you know, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed, above board in the KPI, they wouldn't have had any reason to remove her rather.
Now, still on that ministerial list, we have 48 of them, am I right? And we have 36 states in this country, including FCT 37. So, apart from Southeast, that have only 5, every other region have more than 6, apart from Southeast. Now, check since 1999, we have been having series of presidents. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate President is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal President is from where? National Industrial Court President is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? And they are saying that the people of Southeast belongs to this country.
Are you sure Max, are you sure you're not? I mean, it's just like what I said too. I mean, isn't it time we started to be less sentimental about this diversity?
We have to apply it now. We are saying that the only people that are qualified to hold all this position, nobody from South is qualified. On what basis?
Are you saying that there's
the chief of naval staff is from the Southeast?
Huh?
The chief of naval staff?
From where? I'm talking about the key position. Number 1 person, number 2 person, number 3 person, number 4 person, number 5 person. The key position. We have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. You can never see anybody from Southeast there. Now, the point we are talking about is that I'm not even talking about, I'm in court about lopsided appointments.
Okay.
I can avail that my process because I did an intensive research in that process. File it, asking court to view whether this particular appointment, whether this particular governance is in line with Federal Character Establishment Act, an act of National Assembly that said that you should carry everybody along. Section 14 of the Constitution also said that you should carry everybody along. And we are not doing all these things. You are telling me that, yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Handele and you are now brought in Bianca Ojukwu, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about. Let me start with the source. In football, the people that have made Nigeria proud are the people of Southeast. In commerce, in aviation industry, name it. In academics, they are from people of Southeast. But when it comes to power, they are not qualified. And we want them to be happy. Listen, let me tell you, like today that is Monday, go to Southeast. And my annoyance is that these things are avoidable for Christ's sake. They won at hand neither. They listen and the Kanu. Let us start addressing this issue. This early morning, somebody sent me a clip, something they posted. That they said I think they said next week, or the next 2 weeks, that there will be nothing like federal courts in the whole of Southeast. What do I mean by federal courts? Federal courts, National Industrial Court is a federal court. Federal High Court is a federal court. Court of Appeal is a federal court. Now, the judges that are there, most of them are not Igbos. Majority of them are not Igbos. How should you risk somebody to go and preside in the Court of Appeal over the judicial division, Oka judicial division, Enugu judicial division? How can you appoint somebody to go and preside in Federal High Court in the Southeast, National Industrial Court in the Southeast? And we are not even thinking about all this. And the judges are not even thinking about, So the point we are talking about is that when there is a problem, look for a solution. Personally, somebody like us, we're not even, I'm defending Nnamdi Kanu, one of his lawyers. So when they say so you people are not doing what you're supposed to do, the person that is calling you, don't even know him. He's using a hidden number to call you. You don't even know what they're talking about. The only thing that you went to court and you were unable to bring Nnamdi Kanu out. They're not even safe.
Okay, Maxwell, let me ask you this, because from what you're saying, I've also heard IPOB many times deny, allegations of being involved in some of the killings that happen in the Southeast and some of the, the ills that we see in the society. Even the sit-at-home in question, IPOB has also claimed that he has not asked anybody to sit at home. I don't know, get my point. So the point I'm making is that from what you're saying, it would look as if what you're actually trying to say is that it's because Nnamdi is being held,
yes,
that is why the ills in the society in the Southeast has escalated. Does it have anything to do with him? That is what you're saying.
Do you know why? Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB is his initiative. He established it, he organized it. Now, when you now kidnapped him or abducted him and unlawfully, because the Supreme Court have said that he was unlawfully brought into this country. And you kept him incommunicado. Everybody on his own. This one we kill, you said at IPOB. This one we maim, you said at IPOB. Everybody on his own. That's why I ask you the question, who is IPOB? The IPOB you know is Nnamdi Kanu. So Nnamdi Kanu, if Nnamdi Kanu is out, you will know who is who. Simon Ekpa will talk his own. Emma Powerful will talk his own. This one will talk his own. This one. Who is IPOB? That you are even talking. Simon Ekpa is in Finland. Emma Powerful, I don't know where he's operating from. Another person is operating from somewhere. Issuing threats. Just like the one somebody told me. I don't even know where that one is coming from. So the easiest way to do is the one that you know. Nnamdi Kanu. Then tell Attorney General, as he discontinue the charges against the president of Mieti Ala Kato, discontinue that of Showore, they are all terrorism. Tell them to discontinue that of Nnamdi Kanu. And allow Nnamdi Kanu to agitate. It is his right. I told you the other day.
You see, that's where the problem is, really. The guarantee, that there will not be problems, even if Nnamdi Kanu is, because you're saying allow him to agitate, and he goes about it the way he used to, like, the government have actually feared. That may also create more problems, don't you think?
Let me tell you, there are some things that you asked me the other day whether they are talking about condition giving Nnamdi Kanu. I told you one question. I say, if you give Nnamdi Kanu condition that he feel after meeting up that condition, he will still live like a human being, so be it. But when you give him condition and you are removing that made him a human being, he will tell you no. What is that made you a human being? That thing that makes you a human being is your ability to exercise your fundamental rights. And when somebody said, now I'm going to employ you here, I will be paying you $500,000 every month, but you will not talk, you will not move out, you say, do away with your job. When somebody said, I'm going to release you, but I'll cut one of their hands, say no. The agitation for self-determination is a fundamental right. And if you people fail to understand it, I can agitate that I need the Republic of Maxwell. Yeah. It is my right. Anybody can agitate. I don't even need crowd to follow me. It is when you now feel that you have gotten the necessary need the necessary qualities, then so be it. It is now left for the president, who believe in democracy, who believe in government of the people by the people, to apply an initiative. What is the initiative? Release the person, start addressing all those issues that gave rise to this agitation. It has been there. Uwazirike was agitating during Obasanjo. A lot of people were agitating. So now that you have arrested, you come down Uwazirike that time, Nnamdi Kanu came up. Now that you have arrested Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa is there. I think this data from Ned Nwoko was telling you that even if you arrest Simon Ekpa today, another Simon Ekpa will come out. So the issue there is that address all those issues.
Right. So for you, it's not about ministerial appointment.
No. That one. Okay, that one is the complete distraction. That should even come in. Okay. After turning in now, let Bianca come and address the Igbos in Enugu.
All right.
Paris now for a crusade for the release of Mass Nnamdi Kanu. So from Paris, here, France, we move to Spain, from Spain, we move to Austria, from Austria, we move to Germany, from Germany, we move to Belgium, which is campaigning, asking the federal government of Nigeria and the Nigerian judiciary to release Mass Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. That's what it is. I just entered Malaga here in Spain, getting prepared to go and address the Igbos that are living in Europe. Their representatives have converged from all the countries in Europe here in Malaga. We are going to address them. In respect of the injustice Mass Nnamdi Kanu has been facing since 2014 in the hands of Nigeria. How Nnamdi Kanu was abducted from Kenya to Nigeria. How Nnamdi Kanu was facing injustice. How the Igbos are being killed as a result of their rights. So these are the things that will not be here in Spain to come and address them. And they are all waiting for me at the Malaga International Conference Center. We are going to address them. And you can see, so because of my regalia, how I dressed, you can see how the people around there are looking at me as a traditional chief when you are going to address your people, you need to be in your regalia. I need to be in my traditional attire. And that was the reason why I'm here. Thank you. I will continue to update you. Thank you.
So, guys, you guys have listened to what the lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu said, Maxwell Okpara, and also Aloye Jimaka. Now, on August 28, 2025, the ambassadors for self-determination, working with the American veterans of Igbo descent and the Rising Sun Charities Organization, submitted a petition to the former U.S. President Donald Trump. So, I'm going to be showing you guys, the proper context of what he says. I'll show you guys the proper context. It says, Nnamdi Kanu, Igbo diaspora groups petition Trump over what detained IPOB leader. So the self-determination, working with the American veterans of Igbo descent and the Rising Sun Charity Organization, has submitted a petition to former U.S. President Donald Trump. The petition was filed through IPOB's international law. Bruce Fenn, a global respected constitutional attorney based in the U.S. The purpose of this petition is simple but explosive: to push America into action over the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB's leader and the voice of millions of Ndi Igbo worldwide. The petition isn't just a letter, it's a strategic legal strike. It invokes three powerful United States legal authorities. Number one is the 22 USC, Congress-backed framework on international human rights accountability. The second one is Executive Order 13818, signed into United States law, empowering the president to sanction global actors involved in serious human rights violation. And the third one is Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act, gives the United States the power to freeze assets, impose visa bans, and blacklist individuals responsible for human rights abuses anywhere in the world. Now, in the Carlos precedent, these same United States laws were used to sanction senior government officials of another country. They were accused of illegal detentions, torture, and human rights abuses. Exactly the kind of allegations now surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's extraordinary detention and prolonged detention. If applied here, Nigerian government officials, security chiefs, and judicial officers linked to Kanu's case could face identical sanctions. Now, reference to international authorities. The petition does not stand alone. It anchors itself on multiple international judicial rulings. Kenya court judgment declared Nnamdi Kanu's extraordinary detention from Kenya unlawful. Nigerian court rulings. Some domestic courts have also questioned this continued detention. 2020 United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention opinion, these landmark United Nations decisions concluded that Kanu's arrest, reduction, and prolonged detention violates international law. This reference strengthens the petition and makes it legally airtight under international human rights law. Why the case has drawn global attention? I'll tell you guys the reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case has really drawn massive global attention. Nnamdi Kanu's detention is no longer a Nigerian issue. It has remained a subject of international attention for years. Human rights organizations like Amnesty International, the United Nations Human Rights Council, and several Western governments have repeatedly expressed concerns over alleged torture, prolonged detention without trial, the legality of its extraordinary detention from Kenya. This global spotlight makes it increasingly difficult for Nigeria to ignore external pressure. Now, the role of Maxwell Okpara. One of Kanu's top legal counsels, Maxwell Okpara, has been working tirelessly across Europe and the United States. He's coordinating with U.S. lobbyists, human rights groups, policy influencers, and senators. According to sources, Maxwell Okpara and his team are doing the Lord's work. They're really doing so well. Honestly, they are really trying for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a whole lot, mobilizing every possible legal and diplomatic channel to secure Kanu's release. Now, a confidential letter was tied to the petition to the petition, which has already reached Donald Trump's text. Inside reporters suggest Trump could respond within 24 to 48 hours. The potential response could trigger massive United States diplomatic action, possibly altering the trajectory of Kanu's detention case entirely. Now, what sanctions could look like? If the United States acts under the Global Magnitsky Act and Executive Order 13818, Nigerian officials linked to Kanu's detention could face freezing of their US-based assets, visa bans and travel blacklist, public naming and shaming on global human rights violation list, suspension of foreign deals involving those sanctions. This would rattle Nigeria's political allies and force Abuja into intense diplomatic negotiation. Now, implications for Tinubu's government. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration could soon face mounting diplomatic heat if the United States takes action. There will be potential consequences, which include strained United States-Nigerian relations, pressure from the EU and UN to comply, reduce foreign investment and international trust. If sanctions hit, Tinubu's government could find itself isolated on the global stage. Now, the world is watching, just like I always say, from Washington to London, from Geneva to Brazil. The fight for Nnamdi Kanu's freedom has the world attention. International bodies, diaspora groups, and human rights activists are closely monitoring every move. The next 24 to 48 hours could make a turning point, not just for Kanu, but for Nigeria's international image. This is no longer just about the dangerous people of Biafra. It's no longer just about Nigeria. This is about international law, global accountability, and the fight for human rights. With Donald Trump petition, the Global Magnitsky Act involved, and United States sanctions on the table, the next 48 hours could change everything. So, guys, what do you think? Would the United States act, or will Nigerian officials finally feel the heat? So, I want you, to drop your comment below and also tell me what you guys really think about it. Seriously, because what do you really think? Do you think that Donald Trump is going to act on this matter? Because they told us that they have already submitted a petition to him. So do you really think he's going to act on this matter? So guys, let us take a look at I want to talk about Deji and what P2B. Now you guys know the issue about P2B and Deji. Now P2B, Deji said something and said that even if this opposition continues, he's going to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he really got P2B very angry, and immediately he sued Deji, for defamation. I'll be showing you guys a video of what Deji said and everything of how all these things started and what Deji said based on P2B. And I'll be right back. Also, please drop your comments below.
Guys, watch this video. Legal developments. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi has taken legal action against activist Deji Adeyanju following a series of public accusations. Peter Obi's lawyers, in a notice, demanded a retraction and an apology from Adeyanju for what Obi's lawyers call defamatory publications. It states that Adeyanju has repeatedly published false and malicious statements designed to injure Obi's reputation, both in Nigeria and abroad, including an accusation that Obi invested state funds into a family-owned company during his tenure as governor. The legal notice specifically cites a social media post from August 21st, 2025, in which Adeyanju allegedly claimed that Peter Obi could only be president of the obedience on social media and that his supporters represent political extremists. Well, in a defiant response on Facebook, Adeyanju publicly dismissed Peter Obi's legal threat as laughable, expressing his eagerness to confront him in court while reiterating his previous claims. A lawyer, he continues with the defamatory statements on his social media accounts. We know that the legal battle intensifies a long-standing public dispute between the two parties, which began when Adeyanju had previously sued one of Peter Obi's aides for alleged defamation against his wife. I'll take some tweets before I come to you, Ion. This is from Pato, who wrote on X: when you shift from insults and criticisms to making categorical allegations about someone offering you a bribe, it goes beyond mere critique and becomes a serious accusation. Deji is not just any random social media user. He boasts about his 25 years of activism and is now a lawyer. He should recognize the difference between hypothetical and categorical statements when making the former, especially regarding an allegation of bribery. One must be prepared to substantiate the claim. Furthermore, Deji personally requested this. He publicly expressed his desire for it. As a lawyer, he has the skills to officially write to the anti-corruption agencies with a comprehensive petition if he was convinced that any actions taken by Obi in office constituted an act of corruption. Yet, he didn't do that. Instead, he wakes up every day throwing around all manner of categorical statements about acts of corruption. Another Twitter user wrote, "This case will really test the line between free speech and protecting someone's name. If Obi feels his image has been damaged, the court is the right place to sort it out." At the same time, activists and politicians both need to be careful with their words, like I said earlier. The truth will show in court. I hope justice will be upheld.
I think that last statement, that last sentence is the most important, one of the most important things made in terms of, I hope that justice will be held. And we've talked about the justice system in Nigeria. Sometimes it's said to favor a particular class to the other. But I want to hope, and I believe, because we must uphold our institutions, that's the only recourse we have. But Dr. Bati had mentioned earlier on that you cannot resort to self-help. You have to approach the court. So we hope that the court will follow due process and really be the bastion of justice. But let me talk about this case. And I think it's important that Mr. Peter Obi has taken this step. I'm not the court. I cannot determine whether or not Mr. Adeyanju's statements was defamatory. He would have to prove himself or prove the accusations that he has made on his X account in court to beyond reasonable doubt. But we have had so many instances where, whether it be activists or surrogates or people who have been paid by a political party or a person, a political figure, come out to make spurious statements online defaming individuals or personalities. And usually people will just say, turn the other cheek, this is politics, you know how it is, anything happens, people can say what they like. But after a while, it is important to actually make an example of certain people when they make careless statements or put out careless thoughts like this out there. We might think it's an innocent, it's political jabs, but Mr. Deji Adeyanju is an influential figure. And there are many gullible people who would go online and read certain things and accept it as the word. It is important when you make statements like this to be able to back it up with proof and not just come out because you have a computer and you have access to the internet to make statements. It's not just Deji Adeyanju who does this. A number of people, faceless, just come out and make many kinds of statements. I believe that if indeed he's able to go to court and is unable to prove this statement, and he's made an example, perhaps he will teach a lesson to a lot of people who come out and just take on a figure and spew words, spew lies, talk about things, and expect that in the spirit of magnanimity, you would overlook it and just move on to the next. I hope to see the end of this case, and if found guilty, I hope Adeyanju faces the law. If he's not found guilty, then Mr. Peter Obi owes the people an explanation and an apology.
The truth about the thing with this Obi thing is, see, Ayo, with due respect, this one lawsuit will not change anything. You know what they always hide under? The fact that the procedure to prove a case of defamation is very long. And when you take somebody to court, the onus, pretty much will fall on you. So it's a very long-ended process. And they act on that to do it. But you see, I'm not surprised. You have a lot of government officials, people that have been paid with our taxpayers' money, also defaming people, spokesmen. That's the society. But you see, the hypocrisy about all of this is the same government officials that are calling for the social media space to be sanitized. They are the ones that are using it to defame people, which we have empirical proof.
Dr. Bati, there is a Cybercrime Act law that has just been passed recently.
In fact, that cybercrime rule, I know a government spokesman that has violated that. If I'm to activate the cybercrime rule today, the cybercrime law, but nothing will be done. So what I've come to listen to them is and see. So what I've come to say, if I can advise you, Mr. Peter Obi, with due respect, withdraw that case from court. Do not give anybody any chance to look very influential more than they are, because it's a waste of your time. Don't glorify them. Wait, Ayo. As of today, Deji Adeyanju is on channel. He went on channels to talk about that in this morning. So don't glorify these people. Just ignore. It's public space. They will say things against you. If you can't stand it, you don't get education. Mr. Peter Obi, why withdraw that case? They will say things against you. You just let it go.
All right. That's your thoughts.
Principles must be properly stated. Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution guarantees the freedom of expression. But under our jurisprudence, it must be recognized that no right is absolute under the Constitution. The fact that you have the right to express yourself does not give you the right to defame people, because the other citizen has the right to the dignity of the human person under Section 33 of the same, Section 34 of the same Constitution. So he who alleges
must prove.
Must prove.
All right.
That's the basic principle. And Mr. Peter Obi going into politics does not mean that he has surrendered his right to the dignity of the human person. He has every right to go to court to challenge anybody who defames him. It's for that person to prove. The fact that you are a lawyer or that you are an activist does not grant you immunity.
This is it.
Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution is very specific about the persons who are entitled to immunity. Okay. And the Cybercrime Act that you refer to is controversial. They say police abuse it and all of that. But Section 14 of it is also clear. You cannot use electronic devices to defame people by hiding under anonymity. I think that we have to test our laws.
This is it.
With regard to defamation and to other laws, so that people do not think that they have absolute rights. Okay. Nobody has absolute rights.
All right.
The only defense that is available to you is justification, which is truth. The only defense also is absence of malice.
All right.
So we have to keep testing these laws.
I love
so that people don't just go on social media and talk about people, or they just carry microphone and they talk about people.
We just need an example.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
With the things they said about you, how many have you tested?
Well, no, that's why he's saying that.
Please, let me ask him a question.
We're not.
No, how many have you tested? No. And why have you not tested it?
We are not personalizing it.
Yes.
This is a basic principle of law.
Dr. Abati.
No.
No. Well, that's your opinion.
It is up to the person that has been defamed to say. It's not there's no compulsion in the Nigerian Constitution or any of our statutes. It's for you to decide that, okay, I want to fight this matter, and you pursue it.
Well said.
To say somebody should not defend his right, no, we shouldn't go that way. So it's about principle.
I like that point as well. We have to test the law.
I said 5 pages long, lots of things said. But let's just start by saying this is not in court yet, so we can discuss this. What exactly is your grouse against Mr. Peter Obi and the obedience?
Yes, so in the wake up to the 2023 general election, because I'm not political, I'm just expressing my thoughts about why the opposition should come together and unite against the criminal APC and roguish APC government that always rig elections. That if the opposition is divided, that there's no way they can win. I was just expressing my political thoughts and views. The idea of the Obi candidacy excited me, and I said, but that he needed the buy-in of Atiku and Kwankwaso. I even urged Kwankwaso to deputize Obi. I urged Atiku to step down for Peter Obi, and all that. So in the process of that analysis, just expressing my views, I also said the fact that Atiku has been running for president in perpetuity, that he cannot continue to run. I was just expressing my views as a Nigerian. So then Peter Obi all of a sudden started trying to reach out to me to meet me. But at that time I was out of the country. I think I was in Dubai or somewhere. So, but he was persistent in reaching out to me. And I was avoiding him. But, I didn't want to see him because I didn't want it to look like, because I've expressed my views, which seems to be like almost in his favor, he now wants to see me and corner me to be one of his supporters. Because I don't want to support any politician because I'm not partisan. Because some people had already started even resigning from activism and joining him. So I didn't want to join his bandwagon. But I was excited by the idea of Peter Obi because, of course, Southeast have not produced a president in a very long time, except after post-independence anyway. So I was excited. So subsequently, I made some further views, and this time around he was more persistent. So one of his aide, a journalist, reached out to me. So we subsequently met, and I said yes. He first commended me for some of my views and all that, and said that it would be exciting to work together. I said, I'm not working with anybody. But I now made some observations about the things that he has been accused of doing in the past. Corruption. Sarah reporter reported the story where his staff was caught with money. He tried to explain it, but I was not satisfied. Then I also raised the issue about these issues of him using state resources in Anambra to invest in his family business. His explanation to me in his defense was that he had resigned from the company before he became a governor. I was flabbergasted. I couldn't just wait to get up to leave the place. I'm like, how can a man that wants to be president of Nigeria not see the clear abuse? You understand? That he has abused his office to do such a thing. He was justifying it. He didn't see anything wrong in it. I was completely disgusted. So eventually I didn't want to disrespect him, so I wanted to leave. And then he got into, because we're like in the living room, it's like a suite. Then he got into a room and said, oh, please, he's coming. That he wants to go inside the room and he has something for me. So he brought one envelope or something like that. And said, no, this is just a small thing, it's just for coming, blah, blah, blah. I said, I laughed. I said, that means you don't know me. I said, and you are friends with Mimiko, former Governor Mimiko and others. There are people that I was close to. You will have asked them about me. If we do anything, it's because of conviction. It's even me that will bring out of my money and support you. You know, so he kept insisting that it's not like that, it's not what I'm thinking. I said, God forbid, I left. So, however, I never revealed what happened to anyone. So, I remember vividly, he went to, was it Egypt? To inspect some power or something. At the peak of the Ekiti election, when his candidate in the Labour Party was running. So I criticized and said, you should be in Ekiti and not in Egypt. And I said, because you want to be president, you must go and campaign for your candidate and try to win. Man, his aides, some of these young boys that are around him, started insulting me, that the reason why I'm criticizing him now is because that I was saying that he was okay, he was good. That the reason why I'm criticizing him now is that I brought a proposal to him and I demanded, is it 200 million or something? And that he told me that I said, me? And these are his close aides. So they started doing that. So I said, oh, because I had observed the pattern about them, that they terrorize people online, insult people, slander people. His mob, his obedient mob were practically uncontrollable during the last election. So I said, okay, so these people do not even want dissent of any kind of criticism of their candidate of any kind. I said, okay, I'm not going to even leave Tinubu alone and now face them, because we cannot have a situation in our country or in our polity where political extremism becomes the order of the day. And Nigerians are living witnesses to the things that eventually happened to the build-up of the last election. We have never had this kind of toxic political experience. Aside the Buharis, after the Buharis, the obedient mob is the most toxic political movement that we have ever witnessed in this country. They threaten Supreme Court judges.
So guys, you guys have listened to what Deji said about P2B, after P2B said he's going to, sue him. So this is his own opinion of what really happened. Anyway, guys, that's all we have for today. Let me know your thoughts below. And also, if you're new to this channel, if you're just coming across the channel for the first time, please do click the subscribe button, like and share, and turn on all notifications to be getting all the latest news in the channel. Especially when we drop latest updates about Nnamdi Kanu or any happening in Nigeria. So guys, please don't forget to click the subscription bell and turn on all notifications. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget that Nnamdi Kanu will be coming to court on the 10th October 2025. I'm giving you guys latest updates concerning him and everything about Nnamdi Kanu. So guys, thanks for watching and see you guys again in my next live section.